Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Ali, Coram, and Shreve here with a look at the action in today's session, Wednesday, July 26th, where we saw a mildly mixed day that JoJo is pretty excited about. We got the Fed decision, some earnings reactions from some mega cap tech stocks, which we'll briefly discuss, and we'll get a brief reaction from you, Ken, with Meta's results out after the bell today. But overall, with all the headlines, seems like the market is pretty resilient with the Fed hiking rates yet again.
Yeah, no question about it. They were expected to hike rates by another 25 basis points, and they did. And market wanted information about what's going to happen at the September meeting. The Fed's very data dependent at this point, but overall, another constructive session for this confirmed uptrend. Three stocks to watch today. We'll take a look at Paylocity PCTY. Also, want to take a look at Boeing, which reported pretty good earnings and a really bullish breakout for that Dow Jones component, and finally Dynatrace in the enterprise software group DT.
All right, we will take a look at those stocks, but first let's analyze the major indexes. Here's a look at the NASDAQ, finishing the day down just 0.1% off session lows, some support at 1400. We also had the S&P 500 essentially flat on the day, so overall, by the close, pretty quiet there. On the upside, we did have the Dow up about 0.2%, and the Russell 2000 up today by about 0.6%. So seeing strength in blue chips, in small caps, the Dow continuing its winning streak. We can also take a look at the NASDAQ 100 here, QQQ, which we have Google as a component in that stock up nicely on its earnings report today. Microsoft down on its by about 3.8% there, but overall the Q's holding up. And if we look at the intraday chart, we can see where the Fed announcement and press conference happened, but by the close, Ken, it seemed like there wasn't a whole lot of drama to the day.
No, there was a time, when I think it was when the press conference was going on, the Nasdaq whooshed lower very quickly. It was flat to slightly lower, and then it was down 0.6%, 0.7%. And we're saying, oh boy, here we go. But it didn't take long for the Nasdaq at all to find its footing. I mentioned, and there was that big whoosh lower. That might have been the market interpreting maybe a hawkish comment about the September meeting. There's not going to be a meeting in August, so the Fed's going to have a lot of economic data between now and the September reading for this next rate decision. So you can see why Chairman Powell was not really sure what was going to happen in September. We may raise again. We may leave things right where they are. So, but a good performance for the Nasdaq, and especially during the final few minutes of trading there, you see buyers, pushing the index higher again. So in the end, a mixed and mostly unchanged performance for the market. Pretty good considering there was a lot of selling in, technology stocks. A lot of, semiconductor stocks I follow were down 2-3%. Some selling early in the software sector, but you can see even though the SMH semiconductor ETF lagged today with a 1% decline, that looks like a pretty orderly decline to me, and light volume sitting right at its 21-day moving average. So all in all, the confirmed uptrend continues to look good here, and very constructive session, I think.
Mm-hmm. And just before we move on, here's a look at the 10-year yield. So coming off a bit here, Ken, your thoughts on what we could see as the year continues to unfold? Like you said, we're not going to hear from the Fed again until September.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was interesting to see money kind of, flow into bonds here. So, maybe the market still might be concerned about some sort of recession, but obviously it's also optimistic about a soft landing here. So you did have money come into the bond market. This was not a huge move by the 10-year Treasury yield, down 6 basis points, but it definitely worsened after the Fed made its decision. So. Yeah, and you can see there. So there was definitely some buying in bonds that pushed that yield lower. But again, I think the Fed is pretty clear where they are with the Fed funds rate, and we'll wait until September and hope we continue to see a nice trend of easing inflation, a strong jobs market. There's a lot of good things happening in the economy right now.
Great. Well, let's take a look at PCTY. This is Paylocity. It's got earnings in 8 days. And after a nice move in the first half or so of July, Ken, it's gone pretty tight here. So, your thoughts on this turnaround stock? It definitely looks like it has the fundamentals we like to see. So, it'd be great to see the stock start participating more.
Yeah, I mean, you can see its relative strength rating of 76. I mean, it's not bad, but typically in the enterprise software group, there's no shortage of stocks with showing better relative strength in Paylocity. However, I think this chart is pretty compelling here. If we go back to the daily chart again, the way it moved through the 200-day moving average with good volume. I mean, this was not a low volume move when it moved over the 200 level here. And what's even more encouraging is the way that it's pulled back after several up days in a row. The pullback has been in light volume. You can almost say it's almost like a handle type action here. Now you do have earnings coming up, I believe, next week. But this is a company that has a lot of CanSlim qualities. You can see the earnings and revenue over the past 4 quarters very strong. So it's a pretty good setup. I mean, the yellow flag is that again, it's not the leader by any means in the enterprise software group, but it does have the good fundamentals, and wouldn't be surprised to see good numbers here.
Okay. One we'll keep an eye on. We did get a breakout today in Boeing from a nice long base, and this was a really encouraging finish, Ken. Look at that, pretty bullish, right at the top of the range, up almost 9% volume, the biggest blue volume in a very long time, I think. See if we can get that to refresh there. But the biggest blue volume, on pace for the week to rival volume from earlier in June, but on a daily basis, the largest daily volume in quite a while on the upside here, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, you've had, growth stocks have come back to life for several weeks now, and we've been talking about how this market, the leadership has really, broadened out to, it's small, mid, large cap stocks, all different kind of sectors that are performing well here. So just a classic breakout for Boeing. Narrower than expected loss. The revenue of 19.8 billion was well above expectations, a little more than a billion above the consensus. But the cash flow that Boeing generated was north of 2.5 billion. I think the estimate was something like 200 million. So the free cash flow generated in Q2 was well above expectations, and that also fueled buying in the stock. So strong performance from commercial aircrafts. Still working through Boeing. Still working through some execution issues in terms of production, but really like the move in the stock today, and this is just the type of breakout you want to see during a confirmed uptrend.
Yeah, and the IBD team was all over this morning on IBD Live, and it was our stock of the day. Let's cap things off with a look at Dynatrace, another software stock in the enterprise group, along with Paylocity here, finding support at the 10-week line, and it is reporting earnings next week as well.
Yeah, you mentioned a group peer of Paylocity that we looked at just a little while ago, but Dynatrace, you can see relative strength rating of 93. So it's very easy to find a lot of stocks in this group with relative strength ratings of 90 or higher. So you're looking at strong price performers. What I like about Dynatrace, and this is a leaderboard stock, you had an initial breakout and then a flat base that formed right up against the 10-week moving average. So to me, not only are you finding support at the 10-week line, but you are also still in buy range from that secondary entry there. And yeah, just a good looking chart here. Again, another company that's going to be reporting earnings next week, so you want to keep that in mind. But seeing no shortage of stocks with strong technicals in this market right now.
Great. And let's quickly look at Meta, see what the reaction is looking like with earnings out after the close. Right now, it looks like it's up over 4%, almost 5%. So this could have an impact on the market action tomorrow. Ken, what do you think? I mean, today, though, I guess we had two opposing forces in Google and Microsoft moving in opposite directions. But what do you think the impact of Meta might be on the market tomorrow?
Oh, I mean, I think it will definitely have an impact. When Google reported last night, Meta immediately rose right along with Google. So I think there were, optimism, confidence that the numbers were going to be good. We'll have to go through the report and see why the market is reacting the way it is. But a 4%, 5% gain and after hours trading looks pretty good. This has been another nice winner on leaderboard. So we held this position going into earnings, but another stock that is holding above short-term support levels here and in a nice strong uptrend.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll be sure to discuss this one tomorrow morning on IBD Live, along with other stocks on the move on their earnings reports. Thanks so much, Ken. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning, IBD Live, investors.com/IBD Live for all the details. And we'll also see you right back here tomorrow at the close.